What's up, Thrashers, and welcome back once again to the Thrash Maniac 99 YouTube channel, and I'm back with yet another album review for you guys. This time, feels good to finally get a chance to properly review an album from this band, and that is, of course, Legends of German Thrash Metal as a whole, Kreator with Hate über Alles. So, brief little history lesson about Kreator for the maybe 4 or 5 people who aren't aware and you're all idiots. But, I'm just kidding. Kreator formed back in 1982 under the name Tyrant before changing their name to Tormentor. Then in 1984 going with Kreator, and from their debut album Endless Pain through Coma of Souls in 1990, they were on a roll with their albums. Then after that, the band changed their sound and began to experiment with what was going on at the time. You know, groove metal, industrial metal, and even gothic metal. And mixed results for a lot of people. For me, I was never into any of those albums, so there you go with that. But then from 2001 with Violent Revolution onward, they've been on a tear as of late with their last 5 albums. They just keep getting better and better and better with each passing album, for me at least. So how does Hate über Alles stack up? Well, let's find out. So we kick things off with a short, under a minute, acoustic instrumental, Sergio Corbucci is Dead. It has this bit of like an old western feel to it, which was unique. But let's get to the real opener, the title track. And the title track immediately just comes in swinging with thrash fury with an awesome riff to bring in intensity and hostility. The verses on this track are definitely filled with hatred and vitriol, while the choruses are anthemic and filled with epic qualities, which is something you've become accustomed to as of late with Kreator albums, more anthemic choruses filled with epic qualities and melody. The bridge keeps that vibe going to make it feel like modern Kreator, and then a ripping lead comes in to just melt your face and shred your guts up. And even in the second half of the lead, you get some sweet tapping sections with wonderful melodic flair to it. Then next track we get to Killer of Jesus. It once again starts off with thrash fury, and it's comes in swinging like that riff that starts it off, comes in swinging like an axe murderer. And this time the verses bring in a little more melody to the riff work. Same goes for the pre-chorus. While we get into the first chorus, it's short, sweet, to the point, and then the remaining choruses expand a little bit more while maintaining an anthemic feel. And speaking of anthemic, the bridge gets anthemic before a sinister riff pops in, and the lead section here brings in more of that classic metal influence while maintaining shred-tastic fury to it. Crush the Tyrants, cool tribal beats to start it off on a more slower note, and this song is more of like a marching groove track because it's very groove oriented, and that marching groove stays pretty much throughout this entire track, especially in the verses. Choruses once again get anthemic. I know I've been saying that a lot, but trust me, it's apparent on this album. After the second chorus, a wonderful, like, Judas Priest-inspired lead shows up with wonderful harmonies attached, like Milla and Sammy are working in tandem together quite well on the guitars. After the bridge, a second lead pops in that adds more of a somber quality, which was unique for this track in particular. Strongest of the Strong, sweet riff with some cool hammer-ons to begin this track as it leads into like a cool, almost power metal inspired melodic riff. And that first verse brings in a cool chugging riff with melodic progressions, while the drums in the first verse have more tom work going for it, like as if it's building up to a battle. Sweet guitar harmonies leading into perhaps the best chorus of the album up to this point, as the guitars are just smoking with great melodic harmonies. Man, I jumbled right there. The second verse has more straightforward drum work as opposed to just constant tom work. The leads here carry forth a lot of different elements, feelings of power, anger, sadness, and struggle, and it all complements this track perfectly. Become Immortal Wonderful and powerful galloping riff that's very Iron Maiden inspired, which I love. And that's what gets this track going. The verses carry that gallop forward as the riff moves along smoothly. Again, anthemic choruses. This song seems to kind of come off, especially lyrically, like as if it's kind of telling a story about the band's passion for their music from the beginning. The bass line that begins the bridge is a standout moment, not just of the song, but of the album. As also, this is the first Kreator album to feature, I'm gonna probably butcher his last name, but Frederick Leclerc? I think I got it. Frederick Leclerc, who came originally from Dragon Force as well as Senseum, and now he's in Kreator, and he's a solid fit for the band, I feel like. And this bass line definitely proves that, hey, he's a pretty solid fit for Kreator. But anyways, after that bass line, it leads into some almost like choir vocals with smooth drum work leading into more wonderful leads. Conquer and Destroy, which might have been my favorite track of the album, possibly. Beautiful harmonic guitar lines building up the beginning of this track, and then into more of that intensity with the thrash fury that this album's pretty much had for the most part. The verses stay very thrashy while you get some killer double bass work. The choruses brings back those harmonies from the beginning, and while it's anthemic, the lyrics have more to offer in the chorus this time around. And right after the first chorus, ripping lead to melt your face once again, and then the riff that starts the bridge, very crunchy, heavy, leading to more guitar harmonies, another ripping lead but with more melodic character. And then the third chorus starts off with some more cleaner vocals, which was a nice touch. And then the song ends with another crunchy riff to just pound you to end this track. Now we get into towards the end of the album, we get Midnight Sun, which starts off with a classic, 80s Kreator riff, which was really, really cool, to kick you right in the ass, leading right away into the first verse, where it's just, again, filled with vitriol. But then the pre-chorus, you get the introduction of Sophia Portanet, who's an unknown vocalist from Germany, coming in to provide a haunting quality to that vitriol feeling that the pre-chorus provides. And then she and Milla actually harmonize together in the chorus, which gives it a darker feel, which I thought worked really, really well. I thought their voices together worked out perfectly. Second verse brings in little guitar flourishes to maintain that thrash energy, but then the main lead section just gets down and dirty with shred and melody. Demonic Future, once again starting off with another tasteful thrash riff to just right off the rip, to basically say, it's time to blow doors down. And that energy continues throughout the verses while the choruses carries more of those melodic feels, only this time, these melodies and the choruses on this track feel more melancholic than anything else, which was a very interesting contrast to the heaviness of the verses. Here, these melodies provide more melancholy and somberness than anything else. The breakdown here is chuggy, crunchy, and crushing, which is really cool because Kreator was kind of one of the pioneers, along with Slayer, in terms of bringing in really heavy, chuggy breakdowns to extreme music. So they were one of the founding fathers of that, and they show off why they can do it so well. And then the bridge brings back a nice gallop, that Iron Maiden gallop again, with some tasteful guitar harmonies, leading to more wonderful leads. Pride Comes Before the Fall, strange, almost lullaby ambience to start this track off, and then Milla comes in with these creepy, clean vocals to add more darkness. But then eventually the guitars come in a big way with melody before it gets down and dirty with the thrash again. The verses are short and sweet to the point with a visceral onslaught approach, while the choruses has more melodic flourishes attached, while the progressions in the background maintain heaviness. The bridge here has some of the most somber melodies up to this point. The lead here has a nice like balance between feel, shred, technical prowess, and melody. Then we get to the final track, Dying Planet, which was the longest track of the album at nearly 7 minutes. Dark, clean guitars with heavy progressions to start this off, before a heavy yet epic riff comes through to provide an apocalyptic feel. And this track as a whole, for the most part, carries more of a doom metal vibe because it's slow and plodding and brooding. And that vibe is apparent through the verses, and even the lyrics reflect this as well. The choruses keep that going, but has more sinister embellishments in the background. And then after the second chorus, you get some chaotic guitars, almost Slayer-esque, leading to a shredding lead, but with some squealy dive bombs to kind of provide a feeling and a sense of chaos and apocalyptic feeling once again. Then an evil tremolo riff comes in following the bridge, and it almost gives off a bit of a black metal feel, which was really sweet. And then afterwards, clean guitars return with a cool drum solo. And then the ending, you get these like dark spoken word parts where it almost feels like we're hearing a prophecy being told about how after we're gone, the good will see paradise in heaven while the evil will burn in hell, essentially. So overall, before I listened to this album, I've heard a lot of mixed opinions. I've heard a lot of people say this is brilliant, and I've heard other people say it's good. I don't think there's anybody out there that thinks this is bad or mediocre. It's like either people think it's good or absolutely brilliant. The one main criticism that I've heard from a lot of people, and I can understand, is that especially in the first half and the middle of the album, the choruses do get a bit formulaic, where it's like just repeating the song title. I can understand how that can drive some people nuts. I personally don't mind it. I think it fits what Kreator does, and it's very fitting for thrash as a whole. After all, thrash, a good chunk of thrash, is meant to have these kind of anthemic choruses, and whether or not they repeat the song title over and over with some extra words, that depends on the band. I think Kreator know how to do it well and do it to where it doesn't feel annoying. Like, yeah, it is a bit... like I said, it is formulaic that they just repeat the song title, but it just fits very well with what they do, and I don't mind that at all. Like I said, I can understand how that would drive some people nuts. I personally like the fact that they do it because it just comes off as empowering and just... it just makes you want to go at a show and just either raise your fists in the air and just go boom, boom, boom to these choruses. So there is that. And then also I've heard some people say, it's tiring that they keep doing the melodic stuff. I think them going down the more melodic thrash realm is needed for them, because if they would have just kept going in the same direction that they were doing on albums like Extreme Aggression or Coma of Souls or even Pleasure to Kill, then it would almost feel like retread, whereas here they experimented a little bit more, but also forgot to mention this album was produced by Arthur Risk, who, of course, Power Trip, Eternal Champion, hell, he just done Temple of Void, which I reviewed last week. And he definitely helped make this album sound a little bit more raw compared to the previous albums that were done by Jens Bogren, which, for me, I like Jens Bogren's production a little bit more than this album, but I do love the more organic, raw feel and the more crunchiness that this album has. Like, this album definitely crunches harder than quite a few of the recent Kreator albums. In terms of execution compared to the recent albums, I don't think it quite gets to the level of albums like Phantom Antichrist or Gods of Violence. I could see this being better than perhaps like Enemy of God and Hordes of Chaos. Like, this is like, I think, the middle album of their most recent run. Like, it's better than, in my opinion, than Enemy of God and Hordes of Chaos. Kind of on the same level as Violent Revolution, but not as, it's just a little bit underneath Phantom Antichrist and Gods of Violence, for me at least. But doesn't take away, like I said, I've heard mixed opinions. I actually think this is a fantastic album. Not my favorite thrash album of the year, But still, this is fantastic stuff. I give this a 9 out of 10. It's not perfect. Like I said, for some people, repeating the song titles and the choruses can be a bit formulaic, but I like that they do it because it just gives off more powerful meaning to those choruses. And also musically, like, the leads are fantastic. I mean, Sammy's just such an underrated guitarist. The drum work is just full of energy, like Vintor Jorgen, one of the best thrash drummers of all time. And then Mila's vocals seem to get better as he gets older in terms of his thrash delivery, which is really, really cool. And the guy's in his mid-50s. Well, then again, most of this band is in their early to mid-50s, with the exception of Frederick. But yeah, 9 out of 10. I really love this album. I would say, for me, this beats Destruction by a hair, just because I just like the more crunchy production on this album than the Destruction album. Of course, just my opinion. But what did you guys think of Hate Uber Alles by Kreator? Let me know in the comments section below, and I guarantee you I'm going to see a lot of mixed opinions about it, which, hey, life is pain. But anyways, thank you guys for watching. Horns high. See you guys in the next one.
Alright, well, I'm on a secluded island right now. So I have no idea where y'all are.
You're just on an island paradise while we're over here fighting for our lives.
We're at the same coordinates I was at
so many
before.
sounds out
Just
there.
killed a
Right?
zombie by
Okay,
myself.
I'm here. Oh my god!
They were multiplying!
There's so many! What the fuck?
There are so many zombies! What is this? I don't think I've ever seen that many zombies in a
I don't want to be out here
in my
anymore. I've
life.
decided.
Must be
I've decided I don't want to be here. Okay, never mind. I'm not heroic, as it turns out.
Uh-oh, we got a badass.
Okay, well, you know what? It was fun while it lasted.
Oh god, don't give up on